Why, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Matchbox Week 2025 here on Level M Diecast. Thanks for joining us. Episode 1, we got tons of stuff coming this week, but this one is where we're going to kick it off for Matchbox Convention Week. We do have Matchbox NBA Vipers. Originally came out in 1898. They moved through to 1999. Wasn't a very successful line. As you can see, it wasn't even branded as a collectibles line or anything like that. It's literally just like a mainline car with the box in there. Pretty mundane. No rubber tires, no extra prints, no nothing. More of a marketing gimmick, I think, overall between all parties involved. You did get a nice NBA hologram on there, though, to show that it was an official NBA product, which is always fancy. Nothing particularly fancy about the card. This is the initial assortment, so to speak. This was the initial print run, 1998. This will be your first stuff to the pegs. Made in China, nothing particularly fancy. This is the assortment codes and all that kind of stuff like that. There is your teams on the back. I only had one single car. I've only had the Atlanta Hawks, which I got for like $1. So the rest of these we're just going to roll through. So we're going to start off with this one right here. This, of course, is your New York Knicks. So we'll crack out our New York Knicks Viper. Again, these are going to be very, very mundane. There's like a double blister in there. There we go. Get the blister out of there. I'll show the box just to start for the first one, but the boxes are going to be all the same. There's nothing in the box. It's the nice kind of rounded edges of the box. But it's very simple. Very, very simple. And, of course, there's nothing in there. But the model does fit in there. So if you ever wanted to put the model in there, it does fit. So there is our New York Knicks to start it off. Again, this is just straight from the main line. This is from China, obviously. Most of these were made in Thailand, but this is China-based, unfortunately. Does have nice suspension on it, though. Does use the typical 5-spoke concave wheels. Again, just your prototypical Viper casting. Not really sure why they chose the Viper, per se, for this marketing gimmick, but it's fine. It's fine. It says New York Knicks on there. This one has a little bit of a scuff right out the box. It's made in China. It's not a whole lot to expect there, so we'll throw that guy up there. All right, next one up, we'll take a look at. This is our Orlando Magic. So this one in solid black. And, of course, the card art matches to the team, clearly. It would be a little bit ridiculous for them to put in something else. Now, these are held in with that old crappy rubber band stuff. But for the most part, Matchbox rubber bands tend to fail relatively soon. So you don't really have to worry about those messing up your paint. So, again, it's pretty straightforward. It says Orlando Magic on there. This one in solid black. No tinted windows or anything. These are all just basic clear windows. So it's kind of an interesting design for marketing to say, hey, let's take a sports car, let's slap NBA stuff on it, but it's not an exotic sports car, and let's market it with a brand that's not as big as the bigger brand out there, which Howells was still bigger than this brand at that time. All right, next one up, NBA Lakers right here. Probably going to be a lot of Lakers fans. It's kind of funny because when you look at the card art, there really isn't all that much Lakers that you can see behind the card, but there is Kobe. Kobe's right there. So get the card art out of there. There you go. There's Kobe Bryant chilling right there, going up for the ball. So get this out of here. Get this one popped out. So let's double blister. There you go. So it's not going to keep the boxes, so the boxes don't really matter. There is the Lakers. Of course, Lakers does have some purple. It should have been a dark purple, kind of like the print on the front, but they chose a really, really light purple. This kind of harkens back to the Tyco era when they were just doing blended colors, one color in the front, one color in the back. There's no headlight or taillight prints on any of these models, which is unfortunate. And the collectability of these leaves a ton to be desired because it's just really not a lot to it. All right, Houston Rockets. Taking a look at the Houston Rockets. Always good to see a sports car in red. So, we got all kinds of rubber bands everywhere in this one. Look at that. It's hanging out. So, but it's all good. It doesn't damage the paint. There is the Houston Rockets. Does have an R on the side, which looks cool. There's a rocket on the top. I like the rocket. The rocket's cool. It's got a shark mouth on the rocket. Looks cool. Red, always a good color for the Viper. You know, they never really did like a solid red for the Viper GTS coupe, so it's probably about the closest you're going to get. to solid red for the coupe, which is coupe. So we'll put the coupe down there. And then the last one in the first initial wave is going to be this guy. This is your Detroit Pistons. So this one feels a little bit more appropriate to have a car. The rest of them are a little bit meh. But this one definitely feels like it's good to, have a car represent an NBA team. Oops. Sorry about that. So there is our Detroit Pistons. Just got a DP on the side. Some flames on it. This one's a little bit extra decoed up, I guess, maybe. But, these were made very cheaply in China. That was kind of the purpose, was to keep the cost down. Obviously, since they're licensed, NBA licensed, they probably paid quite a bit in royalties to just be able to produce these. So, kind of an interesting thing. Now, we did get a kind of a refresh. This is going to be your quote-unquote Wave 2. Shows a few more models on here. Or I should say a few more teams, not models. Includes some teams that are no longer around anymore, like the Seattle Sonics. We also have the New Jersey Heat or something, New Jersey Nets, which of course they are no longer the New Jersey Nets. So we'll get this one going on next. This is of course Chicago Bulls. So this was definitely a popular one to do in the 90s. Definitely want to pull out the Chicago Bulls. So we'll get that out of there. And then of course there is Dennis Rodman on the right and some other dude, but that's Dennis Rodman. You can tell by his ridiculous hair, which is cool. Fine. It is what it is. So there is our Chicago Bulls. This one looks like it's breaking through, or maybe it's burnt on the front, kind of breaking off as it goes back. It's actually kind of cool. It's a little bit better deco than we've seen from the first kind of set. It's not great, but it's certainly better. The bull on the front looks pretty good. I like how it kind of wrapped around those vent areas in the hood. So it actually worked out pretty good. And of course, it's the exact same details on the other side, so nothing particularly fancy. I do like that this one seems to be a little bit more appropriately sized. Those ones seem to lead a little bit off-roady. It seems like it's like a lifted Viper. Actually, most of them, I guess, seem like they're a lifted Viper. All right, next one up, we do have the Utah Jazz. So Utah Jazz right here. So a little bit of a kind of snowy-ish theme to it, I suppose, as far as the way that the Viper looks. So get that packaging out of here. There we go. There is our Utah Jazz. It does have that little logo there on the quarter panel. Some green print on there around a basketball. So the green is pretty nice. It's all right. This is definitely supposed to mimic mountains or something like that. It's Utah. Utah has plenty of the Rocky Mountains in their state. It's pretty much the whole state for the most part. It looks okay. This one looks okay. It does have a white interior, which is kind of a good mix. The Chicago Bulls had the red interior, but most of them have had white or black. So Chicago Bulls is a little bit different. Not very much different, but a little bit different. All right, rolling into the next one right here, Charlotte Hornets. So good old Charlotte Hornets. So I'm pretty sure they're still around. I'll be honest with you guys, I really could care less about the NBA. I'm just collecting these because, of course, they're Matchbox, and I am an ultra completist, must have them all. So there is your Charlotte Hornets, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a beehive style there on the top. I like that with the hexagons. That looks cool. Purple interior with this one, very nice. Matches very, very nicely. There is, of course, the Hornet logo, looking exactly the same on both sides. As a matter of fact, it's just swapped around. I was thinking it might be facing the exact same way, but it's swapped around. So we'll put our Charlotte Hornets up there. And then the last one in this second wave, this is your Phoenix Suns. Old school logos right there. Old school looking stuff. Old school looking jerseys, really. So Phoenix Suns, we'll get this one popped out of here. Oof, man. Some of them just don't want to come out. There we go. Phoenix Suns, there we go. This one in black and purple, kind of two-tone, orange interior, looks pretty good. Phoenix Suns, average. It's average. I do like the two-tone though, and the orange interior looks pretty good. It's kind of hard when you have a series like this because it's just the same car over and over and over, and it's not even like a really nice recolor like you get from a mainline. It's just like a bleh. All right, I lied. This is the last one. This is the last one from the second release. So now I can tell you right now that the two models that I don't have in my possession that definitely came out for sure is the 76ers and the Miami Heat. So those two particular ones right up there, those are the two that I don't personally have in the collection. But I have every single other one that I know of that's been released except for those two. So we can pull out our Seattle Supersonics, which we know does not exist anymore. As a matter of fact, Seattle Supersonics became the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they are no longer even in Seattle. And then after I showcase this one, I will show you, I'll pull the one up for the Atlanta Hawks, which is already in the catalog. So no need to crack or pull that one out because it's already been collected. Seattle Sonics right there on the top. There is, of course, your Space Needle. Details on the side, pretty average. Green interiors, all right. This one definitely looks different. I like different. You know, we love different. But it definitely looks different compared to the rest, for sure. I mean, if you looked at all 10 of those up there that we've got so far, you would definitely be drawn to that one for sure. So there is the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, pretty straightforward. Black and red looks pretty decent. Like I said, got that for $1, picked that one up, and then I decided, you know what? I got to have all of these, and lucky enough, I came across this mix of them. All right, this is the final wave. This is the last wave that was released. This did switch to 1999. There is your copyright date. We switched to 1999. They kind of went through like this as they were releasing, and they basically got to about here and said, we're done. We're done. So Mavericks, Clippers, Sacramento Kings, your Wizards, Grizzlies, Bucks, Spurs, Raptors. None of those ever came out, and I don't think the Timberwolves did either. But we do have all the rest of those here, including, of course, the Denver Nuggets. I'm pretty happy about that, being from the Maha City right now. All right, so this is our first one right here, our Golden State Warriors. So we'll crack this one out. Again, 1999. This is the newest of the batches. Still packaged the exact same. Still kind of a pain in the butt to get out of there. The box is exactly the same. The box did not change. So just showcasing that real quick. There, of course, is our Golden State Warriors Viper. It is still made in China. All of them were made in China. So this one looks to have a little squatty rear end going on there, which is all right. It is what it is. Dark blue interior. The details on it look average. You know, this is not even high quality print either. This is just like regular pad printing on the side. So it leaves a lot to be desired. Clearly, moving on to 1999 did not help the production value. They are still as generic as they were at the very beginning of the runs. All right, next one up is, of course, the Pacers, the Indiana Pacers. So we'll crack open the Pacers. Look at that. These were $5. These were $5 back in the day. That's really expensive. Really expensive for what you get. But, of course, that's from Kmart. Kmart was expensive with everything. It's probably one of the reasons why Kmart's not around anymore, because the prices were not great. So this one has look at that. It's an extra piece of like plastic on the back. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. One actually held together. Not too shabby. It's not wrapped into the wheels though, so I'm happy about that. It's just wrapped around the model. So there is our Indiana Pacers. This one does have quite a bit of print on it. Quite a bit of print. It's got the blueprint all the way around the bottom, which of course you can see not the greatest quality. It says Indiana on the side. It fades from yellow to white. Plus there's some stripage on the side, or on the side and the top. And then of course it says Pacers right there. A little bit more blue in the front. Always used the exact same wheel. Always had black bases as well to keep the cost down. But at least they did change the color of the interiors. So they put a little bit of effort in it. They could have just made black interiors all the way across the board. And could have. All right, New Jersey Nets. Yes, the New Jersey Nets, which is a team that's no longer around either. It's the New York Nets, I think. They moved to New York. Get this one cracked out. It's just this piece of plastic in the back. It's just very, very interesting. It's like, oh man, what? Man, it's like glued on there. Come on, there we go. It's a good thing I'm not keeping the boxes, throwing the boxes in the trash. There we go. All right, there is your New Jersey Nets. Of course, this one looks good in silver. I'm pretty biased with silver. We have seen this casting in solid silver though, so that wouldn't be something new. Again, just looks like it's an off-roader. Just so much wheel gap in there, but it's because of the suspension. Blue on the base of it, red interior, which is very, very interesting. It says Nets on the top. Again, not great quality. I'm not really sure why they couldn't have thrown a little bit of red in there for taillights, a little bit of white for the headlights. I mean, you're going around the whole model with a print anyways, so you might as well just make it a little bit better. But I mean, your cost of that would be significantly minimal. All right, Cleveland Cavs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, old school Cavs logos. So crack this one out. Hopefully this one comes out a little bit better. We'll just pull from the top. Get the rubber band off. This one actually is wrapped around the wheel. No, not going to happen. All right, fine. You just stay in there for the rest of your life. Look at that. Look at what it's doing to the wheel. What's that doing to the wheel? That's not cool. I'll get that out eventually. Oh, there's one in the back. That's weird. It wasn't really like held in there with that. All right, so there is the Cavaliers. This has a very interesting color combination. Some blue on the front and then the black on the back. Very, very interesting. A basketball on the side. Other than that, it's very, very straightforward. Orange interior. Man, they're just weird. It's just weird. I'm not really sure who sat and designed these, but it could have been a marketing guy. Who knows? It could have just been somebody's pet project to be like, oh, I really want to make some NBA stuff. All right, Denver Nuggets. Yes, Denver Nuggets. Look at this one was $6.99. $6.99 at Kmart. So they went up by $2 a piece. Can you believe that? Can you believe spending $7 basically for a mainline Hot Wheels? No extra print, no rubber tires, no metal base, no nothing. Same price as a premium. And they wonder why this line didn't do anything. Now, it didn't do anything because the marketing for this line pretty much didn't exist, or the customer base. But outside of that, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, what do you expect to get out of something like this? All right, Denver Nuggets on the side. Gold looks pretty good. It's also two-tone, red interior. Got your Denver Nuggets logo on the top. Nothing particularly fancy. Says China on the base. Again, just another Viper. Get the rest of that stuff out of there. Wheels, okay. Wheels spin very, very nicely. You don't even have to grease those ones up. So throw our Nuggets up there. And then the very last one. Yes, if you've stuck around this far, you truly are a Matchbox fan for sure. Or maybe you just feel sorry for me for having to talk about a pointless product for 20 minutes. Anyways, Houston Trailblazers, or Portland Trailblazers. I'm going to get Houston from. Portland Trailblazers right here, last one. $4.99 on this one as well. So we'll get this guy violently removed from this packaging with absolute terror and hostility. Get that out of there. And then, of course, there is your Trailblazers. This one actually looks pretty cool. I actually like the way this one kind of looks. It looks to have a little bit of rust inside the window. Could be some kind of China virus. Just saying. Throw this out of here. Get that little bit of rubber bands off of there. Pretty straightforward. Nothing really to talk about right here. Black, red, and white always look good together. And suspension as well. So throw this guy on the right side. So there you go. That is episode number 1 of Matchbox Convention Week. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. We got great stuff coming all week long. Videos will even be dropping on the channel while I'm already at the convention. And yes, in case you guys are wondering, I will be at the convention for sure. So if you want to follow all the action from the convention, this is the new Instagram. Follow this Instagram if you want all the info while I'm at the gathering, all the deets, all the info. Follow this IG. That will be all the info you need while I'm at the gathering. Anyways, we're going to roll out. We'll catch you on next episode. Episode 2, Matchbox Convention Week continues on LMD.